Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khallakul azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbul arshil azim, innakal barrul jawadul karim. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, the sovereign of the day of recompense. It is you we worship, and you we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed favor, not of those who have evoked anger or of those who are astray. Ya Allah, with your mercy and protection, we are able to gather here at this event, SPE-UTM Student Chapter Young Engineer Symposium 2021. In this wonderful event, we humbly pray to you, Allah, the Almighty, to increase in knowledge in this industry and enhance our knowledge further in the career of this field. Ya Allah, make our gathering here a blessed one, and our dispersion thereafter a guided and protected one, and make not any among us a wretched or deprived one. Ya Allah, the one full of knowledge between the good and evil, between the obvious and the unseen, protect us from the calamity and danger, from disturbance and strife. Grant us our prayers. Guide us to the righteousness and to the path that you bless. Provide us with people that are sincere, trustworthy, noble, and honest, responsible in building a developed nation, united people. We forever seek your blessings toward excellence, glory, and distinction. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin Amin Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you Mr. Sahih Samsuri for the prayer recitation. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping rules that I would like to remind all the audience here. The first one, this session is expected to be around 1 hour and a half. The second one, kindly mute your microphone throughout the session. The third one, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box below. The fourth one, during the Q&A session later, we will attend to them, or you can use the raise hand feature to ask your question directly to our speaker. Last but not least, please be reminded that this session will be recorded. I will briefly explain the agenda for this event. The first one is welcoming remark. The second one is speaker session. The third one is Q&A session. And the last one is photo session. Participants need to on their video during this session. This will be our agenda for today. To kickstart our event today, I am pleased to invite Ms. Seo Yoon-yi, the President of SPE-UTM SC, to deliver the opening remarks. Ms. Seo Yoon-yi, the floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you, Iqbal. So sorry, due to some technical issue, I can't open the camera right now. So thank you, Iqbal. So good evening to our respected guests and participants of SPE-UTM Student Chapter Young Engineer Symposium 2021. Before I start, it is my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to everyone. We are delighted to offer the most hospitable welcome we can. Also, to all the experts and the honorable VIP, Mr. Haniff Mahmood from Elsa Energy Sdn Berhad, as well as all the audience. We are deeply honored to have you in this wonderful event. First and foremost, on behalf of SPE-UTM Student Chapter, I would like to thank the organizing team and congratulate Ms. Rosliana Putri, the director of this program, for making this event a reality. They have done a really great job from the moment we started this ceremony. So, as the pandemic hits, each of us present here has had a tough time keeping up with online studies, working from home, adjusting, improving, and doing better. We have learned how to deal with pressure under different circumstances. Throughout the whole process, we have learned to do better. I think it is more obvious to us now that higher adaptive skill has become the key point skill set needed to be more competitive in future industry. The key is to keep striving with high determination and willpower to achieve great success as well as searching for any opportunities because I believe many among you have extreme potential to embrace. Therefore, I would like to congratulate all participants for taking the first big step to join this remarkable event. So, without further ado, I, as the president of SPE-UTM Student Chapter, sincerely hope you will enjoy the event and benefited something throughout this whole event. So, thank you everyone for the participation, and I hope everyone enjoyed this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yunyi, for your speech. Next, let us hear some words from Ms. Rosliana Putri, the Director of Young Engineer Symposium 2021, to give her welcoming remarks. Ms. Rosliana Putri, please welcome.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Iqbal. Assalamualaikum. Salam sejahtera and good day to our respectable guest, Mr. Haniff Mahmood, honorable lecturers, our charming president of SPE-UTM-SC, Ms. Seo Yoon Yi, all of our dedicated participants here that spend their time being with us today, and not to forget my beloved team that has been working hard in shaping this event. Thank you so much. So first and foremost, I want to express my biggest gratitude to our sponsors, One VR Malaysia, for the decision of them connecting with us and their generous support and contribution. Also, appreciation to our collaborators, Hijrah Trading and Mapasil Asia, specifically as our shipping partner. Their contribution in many ways has brought huge amount of help and open a door of hope to young generations and future graduates. Young Engineer Symposium 2021 target to promote engineering education in digital transformation and technology advancement by applying virtual reality to enhance learning outcomes through simulation and models. So fast forward to this night session, the engineering of us, the engineering and us technical talk will expose us more on how this VR has actually been widely used in oil and gas or generally in engineering training, like example like geology field training. So that's all from me. I hope you guys enjoy this session as much as I have the joy forward to this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rosliana, for your speech. Introducing our diamond sponsors, One VR Malaysia. We are very delighted to build this connection and have your generous support and contribution. One VR Malaysia by QVI Solutions Sdn Berhad is a technology company which provides virtual reality and augmented reality solutions to improve business efficiency, innovation, and assisting business to diversify risks by delivering a bespoke solution. One VR has revolutionized the way companies do business by enhancing customers' real-life experience. VR or AR technology has been an invaluable marketing tool for brands for its potential to increase sales and boost customers' engagement. The service they provide includes 360-degree virtual tour, designing of a 3D virtual store, 3D rendering and visualization, and 3D virtual event and exhibition. Their services have been widely used for retails, showrooms, training, education, marketing campaigns, hospitality, and tourism. They aim to provide a helping hand to accelerate the process of digitalization through the implementation of VR or AR in business. They always believe in continuous improvement in the digitalization process to enable businesses to cope with the ever-changing environment. The recent work done by One VR which is virtual tour which include food and beverage, beauty and postnatal care, leisure and education. With all the clients that they have been collaborated, they become one of the well-known companies in Malaysia. Without further ado, let us proceed with the next agenda. Allow me to introduce you to our guest, Mr. Haniff Mahmood, as our speaker for today. Who is Mr. Haniff Mahmood? Mr. Muhammad Haniff graduated from University Malaya with Bachelor in Science, major in Geology. He also has a master degree in renewable energy from University Malaya with over 11 years experience in oil and gas industry. He started his career with Uzma Engineering Sdn Berhad as a geologist, geomodeler and basin modeler. At the same time, he works with business development team to develop subsurface business. He is currently working as a subsurface business manager for Elsa Energy Sdn Berhad. Major part of Mr. Muhammad Haniff working experience involve researching on new technology, analyzing new business opportunity as well as developing the business. He is a futurist and strongly believes that both technology and human experience combined would produce the best result. I would like to welcome Mr. Haniff to share his insight today.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, can I share a screen? Let me see if I can. Right, can you see the screen? It's okay, right? So, Assalamualaikum, good evening. I was surprised about 66 participants tonight because it's Friday night. I wasn't expecting anyone. There's a lot of you guys coming in. And also Spider-Man's out today, yesterday, right? So wasn't expecting a lot of you guys are going to join, but I'm quite surprised. So anyway, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for inviting me tonight to talk about virtual reality. Very, very interesting topic actually, because we are actually Elsa Energy actually just recently, I think this quarter of 2021 is aggressively marketing and looking into virtual reality for Petronas. But we can go into detail later about that, and I want to share a little bit of experience and what virtual reality is all about for you guys. Let me see if I can. All right, let's start with a quote from Matthew Ball. He's a venture capitalist. He's an ex-Amazon. I'm sure you guys heard of Amazon before, right? He's an ex-Amazon head of investment. And he said that virtual worlds have been destigmatized as a result of COVID in a truly unique way. COVID has legitimized time in virtual worlds in a way that almost no other event could have. What he means here is that before COVID, people talk about how people are spending times in virtual world. Virtual world here mean like social media, those kind of things. But as COVID happens, you see that people need to be in quarantine, physical distancing. So, and then businesses started to realize that they need to keep communication open, keep their business continue. They cannot just stop everything because of COVID. So they started to have an online meeting, remote working, and some of these companies already started implementing, deploying, and even applying a virtual meeting room. It's quite interesting what COVID has done for us in the past 2 years. There's pros and cons of COVID, of course, but in terms of digitalization, it actually accelerated. I think by maybe 5-fold or 10-fold. Digitalization is not new. Petronas, for example, has done already embarked in digitalization back in 2009, 2010 already, back to digitalize everything, all their operations. But it's not until COVID happens that we saw that how fast and how ill prepared we are when it comes to working remotely. So here's just a big agenda on what we're going to cover. So the new normal. You guys, as a young engineer, should now aware and started to need to, live in the new normal. There's forget about the old normal anymore. There's no such thing. The new normal right now is that you need to understand and accept that the price collapse and volatility of the past 5 years is actually the new normal. There will be a new career coming out. Some jobs will be replaced by robotics and automation. So you need to realize this, accept it as quickly as you can, and learn how to adapt in the new normal right now. Right now, the oil and gas, I can say that it's not 10 years back. I lived through 3, you can call it the downturn of the oil and gas industry, 2010, 2015, and 2020 last year. So I lived through all 3 downturn of the industry. Back in 2010 and 2015, the downturn was not that bad. What I mean is because every oil companies has a minimum numbers of oil price or the barrel per dollar oil price that they need to maintain. For example, I can't give company's name, but most of the companies said that $20 per barrel is their minimum numbers of operation cost. So if the oil price drop more than $20 per barrel, they have to prioritize their production, close some well, optimize some production. So most of the companies, they usually go down until $20 per barrel. In 2010 and 2015, the oil price did not drop all the way to $20 per barrel, maybe until $40 per barrel. What's bad for 2015 at that time, because I lived through the golden age of oil and gas at that time. It was $140 per barrel. At that time, kerja cari kita, bukan kita cari kerja. The job is looking for us. $140 per barrel, you can imagine, you can do anything. The oil companies allow anything. You want to do any kind of studies, you want to test all new technologies, you want to develop new technologies, you want to R&D, you can do anything. But because they feel comfortable with $140, $120 per barrel, but when the industry dropped to $40 per barrel, a lot of things has to change. And then comes 2020. 2020 was the really bad year for oil and gas because of the double whammy. We have the downturn of the oil and gas and also COVID. So 2020 was when the oil price dropped until $20 per barrel, where most of the oil companies has to optimize their costs and operations, and most oil companies, small oil companies, especially in the United States, I'm sure you heard of, macam kalau you guys are engineers, petroleum engineers or oil and gas engineers, I'm sure you guys heard of fracking, where they get shale or hydrocarbon from shale. So a lot of companies in the US have to go bankrupt because they cannot just sustain $20 per barrel anymore. So because of that, and coming to 2021, the oil and gas, the oil companies right now decided to do more with less. They have tighter budgets. They want to optimize capex and opex. If capex is capital expenditure, opex is operation expenditure. So they want to do it with fewer employees, but they still want to do it at a unprecedented speed. So this is from Microsoft back in 2017. See, 2017 also they're already talking about IoT, virtual reality, and AI. So they asked about 1,000 or 2,000 of youth, 20,000, I can't remember, youth between 15 to 25 years of age, and they wanted to see what are the things that they want to see most in the future. And these three are the top one: artificial intelligence, AR, VR, mixed reality, and also Internet of Things. So the virtual reality is not new actually. So how about in Malaysia? So in Malaysia, the VR industry is mostly capitalized by the what do you call the mall, shopping mall. If you've been to Mid Valley or what's the other, My Town dekat Ceras, so they have this Reef, the called the Reef, one of the biggest VR play macam kawasan permainan lah, VR AR in Mid Valley. And also most of the mall right now, because of the COVID, they accelerate the online shopping. So in Malaysia, you can see that the Reef and also VR Live, two of the largest hybrid theme park of AR VR. Other places like VR theme parks and museums called VR Labs, Futureland in Bandar Sunway, and also the Void in Genting Highlands. So I'm sure you guys already well aware of what are VR, AR, and MR, and also what is XR. So VR, virtual reality, where when you wear your goggles, you're in a virtual world, digital world. Augmented reality is where you overlay digital, anything digital on top of the reality. So mixed reality is just the mix of VR and AR. So XR is called extended reality, that encompass everything. And but I also like to add one more, which is the actual reality, which is what we are living right now. So in virtual reality, there are two things in oil and gas that's really help virtual reality comes into fruition. And one of it is IoT. The other major things and the major factors right now is 5G. I'm sure you already heard about 5G a lot, right? So 5G, in essence, 5G bandwidth is about 10 times the speed of 4G, if not mistaken. So why is it important in oil and gas? Because I will go into detail. Basically, it's the bandwidth. You need a fast internet connection to talk towards a very long distance connection. So what I mean by aspiration to essential, at one point, virtual reality is just an aspiration, just an idea. They have an idea, but right now they see that having virtual reality is now an essential to the business, everyday business of their operations. And an example is a traditional field service repair. As you can read that for if you have a technician working at remote site, who has the knowledge, of course, they have the knowledge and also have the experience of doing things. But if they doing the repair and after the repair, whatever they're repairing are still not working, they have to get an advice from someone more experienced, someone an expert, and if the expert is in the HQ, for example, your technician is in Kedah and your expert is in KL, you at maybe 10 years back, or maybe 5 years back, maybe the expert have to travel all the way to the site to Kedah, and this will take about maybe 1 or 2 days to reach there. So the clients are wasting and losing money, especially in oil and gas. You cannot like shut down the production. If you shut down the production, you are losing $1 million per day. Well, and then can you imagine getting an expert onshore all the way to offshore? You have to get all the clearance or the work permits done. So shutting down a platform in oil and gas that costs you $1 million per day is something that the oil companies very much like to avoid. So if you have AR and VR deploy, you can imagine that the technician wearing the goggles or the helmet with a camera, so the expert can look at it and have an overlay of augmented reality to find out what's wrong, and then can advise the technician what to do. And then there's something called Metaverse. This is a new terms coined this year, if not mistaken. It was not called Metaverse. There was no name for the virtual world. So Global Data, a company Global Data, social media research, terms it as the virtual world, where users share experiences and interact in real time within simulated scenarios. No, Metaverse is not new. Metaverse has been here for I think since Facebook started doing their VR. But it's not until recently that it's been coined and been talked about since Facebook changed their parent company to Meta, if I'm mistaken. Yeah, and it's not just Facebook that jumping into the bandwagon. Even Microsoft CEO, as you can see, Satya Nadella, they wanted to build an enterprise metaverse, meaning that companies, because Microsoft is everywhere. We are using Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft are everywhere in the corporate world. So Microsoft CEO said that there's an opportunity for enterprise metaverse where, for example, take example like Petronas has their HQ is in KL, but they also operate in South America, right? So they have a team in South America. So instead of a boring Microsoft Teams email, meetings online where you just see your colleague face, you can join in a metaverse in the virtual world. And joining in the metaverse virtual world is not just joining like a room with like a round table where you talk about. You can also then overlay, you can show your business vision. Maybe you want to show your field, your platform, your subsurface, your seismic image, whatever you want to show during the meeting. So it's much more intuitive, much more interesting, much more engaging compared to a boring Microsoft Teams or online meetings. And then there's the terms called Web 1.0 and 2.0, and how Metaverse goes into maybe defining Web 3.0. So all this, why is it important to virtual reality? Because virtual reality works in internets and also what do you call it? Internets and the speed of it. So 1.0 and 2.0 are essentially, 1.0 is just a reading. So you cannot, there's no social media at that time. You cannot write anything. So 1.0 is just basically you go into the internet and then you just read news, those kind of things. But 2.0 is when there's a blogs, there's social medias. So you can now put on your thoughts into the web, the World Wide Web. And 3.0 are still being debated. It's kind of like that cryptocurrency where there is a decentralized authority. If you don't know, macam in the internet, 2.0 still has authority. It still have limitation. Macam website, you still have to put it in certain server. So 3.0 looks to decentralize that. So macam you nak buka website, you don't have to put it in any server in any location. You can just open it there. So it's being debated, but it's very interesting. This is something that you have to, keep up. So VR has mostly been coined as a very interesting application in terms of training. The four biggest industry actually in VR are the healthcare, manufacturing, retail, oil and gas. Retail are the most easiest. I think you guys can relate when we talk about retail. The easiest I think that you can probably turn on right now is IKEA punya app. If you have IKEA apps and you nak beli perabot or nak beli sofa or anything, you can turn on IKEA app. But I don't think, I'm not sure if all the phone can use it lah. Try to download IKEA app. There is a augmented reality. You can scan the room and then you can choose macam sofa you nak beli, so boleh muat ke tak ada room tu, so you can try it out. It's very interesting, augmented reality by IKEA. There also another, I can't remember what it's called, the app where you can try baju, you can try clothes. What, and then macam you bergerak, you bukan tengok gambar and then just overlay the clothes. No, while you moving, the clothes also gerak dengan you. So that's very interesting. Also augmented reality. So retail, that's one of the very interesting way. For manufacturing, dia ada pakai. I once saw Microsoft HoloLens. They demo this augmented reality. So because manufacturing ni, you work with something yang repetitive, berulang-ulang. So the people tend to forget or tend to macam cuai ke, lupa ke apa kan. So augmented reality, they overlay whatever inventory or whatever steps they need to do. So if they miss something, dia akan macam keluar warning on the HoloLens. So very interesting thing from Microsoft HoloLens. On healthcare pula. On healthcare, the most interesting part of healthcare for the industry is try and error. You tak perlu macam student, I think medical students kalau they need to bedah mayat kan. Tapi berapa banyak kali yang you boleh buat you nak buat pun kan. And even if you jadi doktor pun, berapa kali yang you meet with macam emergency case or very rare medical cases. So healthcare here, macam dia boleh train you on things yang very rare. You can try it again and again. You can try error sampai you master it. There's also a live 3D model where you can open very detailed. You can potong or bedah one part and maybe you make a mistake. The simulation ended. So that's one thing lah. Oil and gas, the most usage for VR for oil and gas is actually, as per the title here today, is training actually. I can go into detail later. Right, so according to other Forbes punya article, VR training reduce training time by 40%. Improve performance by 70%. That's quite a lot actually. So simulations here. So this is from Walmart kat US. So they allow dia punya pekerja dia to operate, to manage store and manage simulations for different events or different holidays. For example, Black Friday. Black Friday is quite big in US. So they have a training where they simulate Black Friday. So they wanted to know what happens if there is 1,000 people or more than 10 times the people allowed in the store come for Black Friday punya discount. So they have this simulation. They train the people how to handle the customers, what to do, direct the emergency in case there's an emergency. So very interesting actually. So Walmart there, they retain knowledge better compared to a traditional method. Traditional method so macam when you read manual lah. Of course, experience is another knowledge that you need to have. But if you are new workers, virtual reality has been found to help you retain knowledge much longer. On medical problems, like I said, if you're a doctor and you be doctor for 30 years, how many times in that 30 years have you met with extremely rare medical problems? So, for example, you become a doctor on year one, and year one you meet extremely rare medical cases, but you never seems to see the same medical cases not until 10 years after. So 10 years in the future, you then have to go back to your notes 10 years back. Oh, this is the medical case, the same medical cases of the rare medical cases that I found 10 years back when I started my residency as a medical doctor here. So that's the thing. But with a VR, it's like a shortcut. You can simulate it all over and over again. You might not have to use it, but in case you need to use it, you already have the knowledge and you already know how to deal with it because you already trained via the virtual reality simulation. Very interesting. KFC also has a VR training simulation. KFC, who would have thought? So KFC actually has this, secret recipe kan, KFC. So only a few people, a handful of people know about the secret recipe. And you need to master, and these people who knows the secret recipe tu, yang akan gaul all the secret recipe in KFC tu, need to master the ingredients, how many you need to put. Diorang mungkin juga ada, apa nama tu, the sequence, the procedure lah, mana satu yang nak masuk dulu. So usually it takes about 25 minutes to teach them. So with VR, they found out that they can master it within 10 minutes. Tengok VR, ulang-ulang kali, repeat it as many as they can, and then just within 10 minutes they already master the secret recipe. Interesting. So these are the new type of learning from VR. Shared scenarios, seeing the unseen, and test and retest. Of course, test and retest are the most easiest. Because of the oil and gas, for example, it's very high risk, involve people life, involve a lot of money. So they cannot afford to have mistakes happen in the field in real life. So they started to push for VR so that the new engineers, even the old one, knows what they are doing, remember what they are trained to do. So the knowledge stick to them. So they have to, knowledge. You just have to train and train and train. Training make perfect anyway. So that's what test and retest. Shared scenarios are very interesting. This is like Metaverse again. I know certain companies that I cannot name here already embarked in shared scenarios. Meaning that, for example, they are drilling a field somewhere. So the technical team is in a country outside of Malaysia, but the management team probably in KL or probably the HQ in UK somewhere. So it's difficult to make a meeting there. And also the business decision are being made by the management team. So the management team wanted to approve a certain numbers of development from the technical team. So that when the technical team explain, the management team just don't understand. They can't. They cannot. They cannot like visualize. Why do you need this amount of money to do this? So shared scenarios here. The business, the management, and also the technical team get into the virtual world, the metaverse or the shared scenarios world, and then the technical team come out and then shows the field, and then they visualize it to the management team. So then the management team understand, okay, so this is why you require additional numbers of, or this is why we're asking for this much money to develop the field because of these challenges here and there. So it's very interesting whether the management or the business decision team can finally see the field and then understand, because probably they don't have any technical experience, or they has a technical background, but they already not utilizing it. They have been in management for maybe 20 or 30 years. And seeing the unseen is just right now the virtual reality are very, very I could say at the at very advanced stage. Actually, it's high fidelity, meaning high fidelity means high resolution. You can zoom in to look even at the smallest detail. Company already developing like putting like I'm not sure if you guys are petroleum engineer or oil and gas, tapi ada macam core, you know, core when they drill out, they bring core out, so they send it to lab, and the lab analyze it and take a pictures. So some virtual reality companies are already putting the information into the virtual, so you can zoom in to the details of the rock punya properties. So very interesting. Oil and gas industry. So these are the 6 companies that I found very interesting. I'm sure you guys know the 6. Baker Hughes and Halliburton are the top. I think the two out of 3 service company. The third one being Schlumberger. So Baker Hughes actually has a VR technology. They simulate oil and gas facilities within a training room, which is very interesting. I saw a video once. Oh, no. I went to, there was an exhibition 2019, OGA or OTC at that time. So they demo this, and it was very interesting. Halliburton leveraging Microsoft to look at study oil and gas operation. Saudi Aramco is very interesting. They are very advanced in digitalization. They started AR/VR back in 2009. I think I just graduated at that time. So they started back in 2009, very early age. So they also have a facility. I'm not sure where was it. There's a few VR where they operate and they train their engineers on critical equipment in oil and gas facilities. ConocoPhillips, their Norway division, has an onshore drilling center. So onshore drilling center might not be a full VR, likely like a AR. It's a real-time drilling, so very interesting. There's a lot of papers, research papers on ConocoPhillips onshore drilling center being written up. Shell is also one of the biggest and also one of the advanced digitalization oil companies. They started since 2005, I think, if I'm mistaken. So they have a large, I think what they call it is a knowledge center in The Hague, UK and Netherlands. So it's very interesting. They have and the latest one that I read about is Shell has a 3D simulation Deepwater safety training. And interestingly, the 3D simulation Deepwater safety training was developed by an engineer here in Malaysia for the Malikai Deepwater operation for Shell, developed in 2017. The story goes that the engineers was working here in KL for the Malikai operation. So his daughter wanted to go to an exhibition. I think it was the KKICC, what was it? Aquaria, the exhibition for dinosaurs at the time. So this was VR and AR at that time. So he said that, oh, this is very interesting. It's very engaging for himself, very engaging. So he co-developed the AR VR for safety and operations and proposed it to his boss. Very interesting. And ExxonMobil launched a 3D immersive training platform. It's as if you're in the platform itself. So yeah, there you go. The Malikai's project manager at that time was Muhammad Modon, one of the engineers, I can't remember the name. So the VR kit shortened the learning time for the new team. So, imagine yourself a fresh graduate engineer and you've never been to the Malikai platform before. So if you're living in a world where there's no AR VR, you couldn't imagine the platform except maybe from pictures and presentations. But the operation, then you have to learn the operation manually from the books and everything. But from the VR, you are as if you're on the platform itself. So you don't feel awkward, or you don't feel like you're in new environment. You already experience it on the virtual world, as if you on the platform. You know where to go, you know what to do, what button to push. So it shortens the learning time with new teams. ExxonMobil, I said ExxonMobil Singapore has a refinery where it shows the training, the VR to the students of the refinery. It's very interesting. So another thing in VR is safety and comfort. Compared to the old days where you have to do training books or in classroom, so now you have to do you can do the safety in the comfortable aircons classroom, where you just wear the goggles, the VR goggles, and you as if in the environment where you're going to be working. Very interesting because safety here meaning that you are interacting with real design of the facilities, platform, refinery, or the rig, whatever it is. So you are not you don't have any risk. The companies have no risk of the new engineers potentially break something on their works. So when when you simulate this on the classroom VR, you know what button to push, where does this wire go, what the sequence of the pushing. So yeah, and experience here, there's two things. New clean energy. Right now, everyone are talking about new clean energy because we are committed to the Paris Agreement. So by 2050, the government, Malaysia government right now are committed to a net zero carbon. So oil and gas also following the government policy has to decarbonize and also committed to a sustainable future. So clean energy, instead of being threatened by clean energy, they also embrace clean energy as part of power, part of a generation, fuel generation. But because of that, the oil and gas segment of the oil companies budget need to be downsized, and some part of it has to be moved to the renewable. So then they looking to how to streamline training at back in the old days. Training was done classroom and also bringing the engineers to the site. But right now you can do everything in class. So there's a significant cost reduction there. Reality without risk. Again, you do things. You in a simulation. Whatever you're doing, there's no risk to it. Even if you blow up the facilities in the virtual world, you can just hit the reset button. Everything goes back to normal. But that's not the point of the training. You need to understand what you did wrong, and what can you do to make it better. One of the training scenarios, I think Exxon or Shell, I can't remember, they put a different scenarios, safety scenarios, fires, some even put flooding. So what do you do at that type of scenarios, of safety scenarios? So it's very interesting. You are not just learning about your part of your works as an engineer, but you also have to learn what would happen if scenario A happen. What would you do if scenario B happen? So this is where you cannot live through scenario without VR. If you lucky, you might survive a scenario, but we want to avoid that in oil and gas. The hazardous scenario. So these replicate scenarios like unplanned shutdowns, abnormal operation. So you need to come up with a quick emergency response there. This is just like I said in the when we have non-technical and also the business decision maker, the management side of it, they want to understand, want to see the clearer picture. Why do you want to do this? Why do you need this much of money to do this? So this is what they mean by clearer imaging. So they can see why you want to drill the well horizontal instead of vertical, for example. And why do you need to drill the well so far away using an existing platform? Why don't you like pull a rig on top of the reservoir? So a lot of questions can be easily answered if you can see the clearer picture here. And I've involved with once demo. The company at that time can only visualize the model, so they can only put on whatever data that the oil company has. For example, the oil company has seismic imaging and also the surface, the subsurface, and they have platform with all the wells direction already input into the server or the work server there. They are working on an interactive virtual reality experience, meaning that at that time, because it's only visualized, you can only look at the direction of the well path where they are drilling to. But they are working on to develop on, for example, you are a drilling engineer, you wanted to drill it, for example, this way or this way. So they wanted to have the capability of interact with the model to give an proposal. But they want to go one step ahead, instead of just melukis or the well there, the draw it there. They wanted to see what would happen if you design it like that, and then they press a play. What would happen to the platform or the well if you can drill it? Maybe, but that have to add on another things called artificial intelligence lah. Because then the artificial intelligence has their own algorithm. They have to calculate all the scenarios, and then they have to come up with what would happen if you drill it like this, if you drill it like this, if you don't drill it like this. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting demo. And this one is decision making. Like I said, the business decision maker. These are what's this? I think this was done by a newspaper and the national down there, and also Aramco. Adco, Abu Dhabi. Yeah, Abu Dhabi. They conducted a survey back in 2018. So they wanted to see. They asked about 2,000 managers, VP, all the leaders in oil and gas. So where are they viewing, and where do you think the investment are going on digital technologies? As you can see, the light color green there is 2018, and the dark color there is 2022, if I'm mistaken. So right now, most of them, you can see big data analytics. So big data analytics are artificial intelligence, machine learning, those kind of things. Internet of Things are just internet connectivity of everything, of every equipment connected into internet. Mobile devices, of course, 50% at that time. Cloud is the cloud server, everything on the cloud. Robotics and intelligence at that time was only 10%, but they wanted to see it increase to 30% by 2022. Now, robotics and intelligence are very interesting because right now my company, well, not my company, Alpha Energy is actually heavily invested in robotics and intelligence. In fact, we helping Petronas on their robotics and automation. Very interesting. The main purpose of robotics and intelligence is essentially to reduce the risk. I'm sure you heard about some news where engineers going in macam nak bersihkan tank and everything, but ended up dead because they did not aware masa tu tank tu masih ada gases inside the tank. They assume the gases tu semua dah di pump out, but then it was too late. So robotics and automation very interesting. They instead of having people, the engineers go in. The engineers now train themselves. They have to retrain, reskill themselves to use the robotics and then masukkan robotics dulu, run the preliminary analysis, jalan, tengok, check all the ni semua ni, and then when it's safe, all the sensors indicate this is safe, baru the engineers go in. Very interesting. We are heavily invested in that as well. So we helping Petronas on that lah. Actually, no, not helping Petronas. We work together in Petronas in developing it. Artificial intelligence are one of the very interesting places right now, but this is very, very niche. A lot of uncertainties on artificial intelligence, I can tell you that. A lot of questions, a lot of debates. If you're presenting to one group, they say, it's very interesting, yes, let's do it. If then you present to another group, they will ask you a lot of questions because they feel skeptics. They don't feel that they give the correct results that they were expecting. That's why I, in my introduction, I said that however technology and human need to work together. You cannot rely just on technology, artificial intelligence to do all the things, all the works. You also need humans punya touch. You need them to give inputs because these humans and these people 20 years experience, 30 years of experience on that field. These are the guru. They know, they already done the studies for the past 20 years on this field. Tapi they are limited to times and they have other projects to look at, so they don't have the time. So artificial intelligence help in shortening these times. So for example, Yasa Energy has machine learning artificial intelligence in seismic interpretation works. We interpret a large number of basin scale. Basin scale, if you know basin scale is very wide. 5,000 kilometers, 15,000 kilometers, we can do it. And a human maybe need 1 or 2 years to interpret a one horizon, but for a machine learning, they only need probably 1 or 2 days to do this. And we need human geophysicists input to give guidance to the machine learning. What do you want to see from the results? So the geophysicists know what attributes in the seismic data, what they want to see. For example, they wanted to see just hydrocarbon, so they choose, and then the results need to be QC, right? You cannot rely 100% on the machine learning punya results. So the human here, instead of taking 1 or 2 years interpreting a field, they can just let the machine run for maybe 1 or 2 days, and then they can use their brain, their knowledge to QC the works. So instead of just wasting times in picking all the horizons and whatnot, they can then use their knowledge and their experience to QC the works, which is very interesting. So that's why I said that machine learning does not replace human. It couldn't replace human. Human needed machine to help them shortening some works, and we need humans' knowledge to help QC the data. So it's an ongoing battle actually in the oil and gas industry. But I hope when you in the oil and gas industry at that time, it's much more acceptable. So there's another two, wearable technology and also collaboration social tools. It's not important. So in Petronas, I'm sure you heard of UTP and INSTEP. If you haven't heard, UTP is University Technology Petronas, of course. INSTEP is Institute Technology Petroleum Petronas. INSTEP is essentially Petronas training arm, I could say. So they not only cater to Petronas staff, actually. So if you non-Petronas staff, you can also pay to be in their training. But this is fairly new, as you can see in the date there. It's 2021. It's fairly new. And surprisingly, I couldn't. Like I said, VR for oil and gas in Malaysia. We started looking at it aggressively only this year, when we heard about the developing AR. Elsa Energy actually back in 2000, before I joined Elsa Energy, they started talking with INSTEP actually with us to see the potential of AR and VR training in INSTEP. So we did a couple of proof of concept or pilot project for INSTEP. It's very basic. So there's only like one apa dia panggil tu, electrical punya equipment, a few buttons, and you have to you as an engineer, you masuk you don't know anything. The environment is like in kilang lah, in the facilities. So you need to push the buttons in sequence, ada sequence there, and then you need to ada timer. So after a certain timer, you have to push this button. After a certain time, you have to push this button. So very interesting. It's very basic, but it helps open up an idea to INSTEP. So INSTEP and UTP right now jointly develop an AR. So AR ni it's not VR. If you notice kan, AR ni augmented reality. So augmented reality ni something yang HoloLens can do it. I don't think other lens or other goggles can do it. HoloLens are the one that they are pursuing right now. HoloLens, Microsoft HoloLens. If you tak tahulah, or I'm sure you guys heard of Microsoft HoloLens. When it was first introduced back in 2015, kalau tak salah, 2015 ke? Microsoft HoloLens at that time was they don't know who to sell it to. So masa dia orang present tu, they wasn't thinking of doing it for corporate je. Tapi then they realized that HoloLens are just too expensive. And then people macam orang biasa, they have no use for HoloLens. Kenapa kita nak guna HoloLens kan? We're not using it day to day punya basic. So HoloLens over time become an expensive accessory that can only be purchased by corporate, which is good. So then they focus on selling it to the corporate. So sebab tu in the early slides that I show you, Microsoft CEO are looking into Metaverse through the Microsoft HoloLens. Microsoft HoloLens right now are second generation and very cool. You can, when you put it on augmented reality, you nampak macam what you're looking at right now. But then when you tengok macam your laptop, they will show you the spec of your laptop. Mungkin juga dia boleh tunjuk some macam berapa laptop ni dijual on Shopee or Lazada, then they can show you alternative to this laptop. So the same concept is being developed in INSTEP UTP, where you look at a certain machinery, machinery tak rosak pun, tapi you know bila dia tengok machinery tu, dia come up with macam details bila last dia being service, last service bila, and then you can then you couple with AI or machine learning, they can come up with algorithm, and then they can give you an expected date yang machine ni akan rosak. So then you can use that information, the expected date when it's due to be broken down because of spare parts, not because of human factors, because of memang spare part dah memang time for it to break down. Then you can quickly send a request to get spare part replaced before it broke down. So and then you the spare part you notice that it takes maybe 2 months to get it. So then you won't have to wait for 2 months while the machines are not working. So very interesting, they are developing right now. So the unique oil and gas industry, what's unique about them is because they're very, very old industry. So when they're old, they have a lot of data, they have a lot of storage. And these data are very, very large quantities. There's a thousands of data. I just cannot let you visualize how many data they have. So they have data, and this data can be used to help develop the virtual world, especially from the sensors, and this tremendously help. You don't have to go to the refinery or to platform, but because it's the data is already there, the information is already there, you can just tap into it and then just develop it. Ask for the virtual reality engineers to just develop it from there. The storage here meanings the cloud storage or the server. It was not. Most of the oil company at that time were silo meaning that they're working alone. They have their own formatting and everything. But right now they are more open. They are more sharing their data among each other. The formatting are much more generic, so everyone can share data. So this helps in terms of not the VR company, the service company or the supplier for the genset or anything to help make it easier for the engineers to learn their products. So the third one is the shift, the mindset shift. Dulu because the industry at that point encompass most of them are already 30 years old people in their 30-year experience, very old people. And these people has run the oil companies, the engineers, the yang kerja dekat platform, all these people, even the business people, they have this mindset and they have done the work as cara dorang. So when new bloods coming in, they ada shift of mindset. They want something easier, want something a shortcut to reach. Can you imagine kalau macam someone expert 30 tahun, 30 years kami buat kerja macam tu, and then someone yang 10 years experience trying to learn for 30 years, suddenly yang 30 years quit job because of retirement. So the knowledge are lost. So these people, the new young people, they realize that there's a gap of knowledge if the old and experts suddenly left. So they decided that it's time for this for the oil companies to properly invest in something that can retain the knowledge even if the people are gone. And these people, for the oil companies, when they come from the bottom and also the top, then something has to be done. So that's why in the past 10 or 15 years, they started to invest heavily on digitalization. But then there come the challenges of oil and gas. Oil and gas adoption, while digitalization and other parts of digitalization move fast. So VR actually are not that fast actually because of the conservatism. Again, the risk and the money is there. Similar to health industry, oil and gas has very high risk, as you guys are probably aware. So in order for the oil and gas, for the companies to deploy or apply a new technology, they have to rigorously review and test it. Can you imagine kalau you a proven classroom training, when they look at it, they say that it's proven to minimize risk by 70%, for example, and then datang another company claiming that the VR training can reduce the risk by 90%. Now, if you oil company, kalau you owner of the oil company, you rasa macam this cannot be true. Because this is new technology, how can you prove this? So this is where the money and risk come into factors. So if you're deploying new technology, new VR training to relatively something new that the oil company doesn't know, how do you measure this? So So this is something that they still have reservation about putting their money and the risk. Kalau you training through VR, and suddenly the engineers that come up from the training screw up because of the training, because they know the training is salah after the screw up. And if the screw up is minuscule, tak apalah, 10,000 ke, it's okay for the oil company. But imagine if the screw up cost them hundred or millions of US dollar, and so something, and they very scared of deploying. So usually the technology in oil and gas, technology applying the technology or deploying it, usually very skeptic about it. That's why most oil companies that I'm aware of, macam Shell, ConocoPhillips, Exxon, and even Repsol, they are working in-house with researcher from universities. So they put in some money funding to the university, and the university help research to the oil companies. So the oil companies then knows the research. It's not the technology is not third party. It doesn't come from anyone that they are not familiar with. So this is something that they have been doing for quite some years. Even Aramco have been doing for quite some years. And then very remote is, like I said, right now the challenges for VR and AR is connectivity. Right now Malaysia 5G is kicking off, yeah, but it's not everywhere. We are SLNG actually has been talking with Petronas, not me lah. I think we have been talking about 2 years back, 3 years back on how to increase connectivity, because connectivity is very difficult. We have real time, Petronas has a real time drilling software. I can't remember what the name. So the connectivity is very important, because real time kan, you tak boleh lewat even a few seconds pun. Bayangkan kalau you tengah drilling offshore, and you as a macam drilling engineer in onshore ke drilling superintendent, you receive the data 10 minit lambat, and then after 10 minutes then you realize that something's wrong with the information, the data that I'm receiving from the offshore platform. But it's already 10 minutes past from what you're receiving. So bandwidth connectivity has been an issue and challenges for oil and gas and the remote connectivity. Most of our oil and gas coming from offshore platform anyway. So very interesting to see how this will be mitigate in the future. Very interesting. It's open for a lot of potential. All right. In summary, 640 million worth of benefit. I can't remember. I lupa nak letak source. 640 million worth of benefits created from digitalization from oil and gas. This is from cost recovery, cost optimization, business optimization, production optimization, from training reduction, cost of training reduction, 640 million. So a lot. Actually, digitalization. This is not VR alone. This is everything under digitalization, AI, machine learning, robotics, and that kind of stuff. So about 1 trillion value is expected to be created by oil and gas from digitalization. This means that new job creation, new business, new services, new jobs, new kind of jobs that is being looked at, and also with new technology from digitalization, challenges that was like 20 or 10 years ago can be easily looked at now. Maybe at 10 years back we don't have the technology, or maybe we don't have the technology, or it's too high risk at that time, because there's a lot of uncertainties. But right now, because of the advancement in technology, this might help. But in summary, VR improve asset management, better response to adverse event due to the simulation that you've done. Highly skilled workforce, but depends on the type of training that you have. Of course, lower cost of maintenance, because then you don't have to try and error in real life. So, and like I said, when you wear the augmented reality, the HoloLens, maybe you can scan the equipment and then they know what's wrong with the equipment, and then save for oil rigs and wells, because you already done the simulation, the training, so you already familiarized with the platform and the rigs and everything. So yeah, that's the final slide for me. Thank you so much. There's any question there? Oh yeah, Izzah was asking, has the technology been applied? So yeah, the only one that I can see, I can't go into details of what is Petronas or Shell are doing right now in Malaysia, because private and confidential. The one that is publicly known is that Instep and UTP are developing the augmented reality app. Very interesting what they come up with. That it's fairly new. If you search for Aramco, they started back in 2009, like I mentioned. Shell started in 2005, the VR visualization. At that time, it's not VR, it's just a visualization, but they since advanced since then. ExxonMobil also. So the adoptions here, from my experience that I can share with you, is that it's still slow, still quite new, still slow. And we also have to remember that in every training, regardless of kalau you buat virtual training or even classroom training, you kena ada what they call macam university kena ada what they call macam you have to be certified. You understand what I mean tak? You cannot macam you nak semua belajar, contoh in engineering, you cannot just apply to university yang you tak pernah dengar nama kan. Sebab and then you dapat degree, but then the degree is not dia tak diiktiraf macam tu by the government of Malaysia, US engineer. So the training module even for the VR tu is currently being developed in Malaysia, what I've been told, and there's a few engineering and auditing company actually developing this certification so that everything standardized macam tu. Some company help finding oil and gas for marketing, adapting VR, and how much cost upward. Well, in every year, if you don't aware of, kita ada something, bukan kita lah, Petronas lah, ada something called Malaysia Bid Round by Petronas. I think you can go into Petronas website ataupun you Google je Malaysia Bid Round. So every year dia akan buat Malaysia Bid Round, because in any business, oil and gas, even oil and gas pun, you need to market your asset kan. Dulu Bid Round ni was done here. So people yang interested, oil companies yang interested, international oil companies or service or company kecil-kecil yang interested in investing in Malaysia, dia akan datang ke KLCC, ke office tu, and then dia kena masuk bilik, and then dekat situ dia kena tengok data lah. Tapi right now, because of the COVID and everything, interestingly, they are adopting VR quite well. They share all the information inside like I say, like a virtual world, like a Metaverse. Very interesting. Tapi it's just a visualization at this point. Yeah.
There's one question from Siti Rahila Ruhaida. With question, the
Mm.
transition from hands-on to virtual reality in oil and gas industry should be implemented. However, how effective this VR technology to oil and gas industry, especially in terms of safety?
Yeah, that's why I was saying one of the challenges and also barriers of adopting VR technology is how can you confirm that what you're the engineers training to, when you put your engineers dekat real life situation, how good will the engineer be? So there's always that questions. That's why right now macam saya cakap ada certain companies engineering and also audit company are standardizing the training so that macam as the classroom punya kind of training, you have to standardize it. You tak boleh pergi dekat sekolah ni macam you belajar SPM, you tak boleh lah sekolah ni different module, sekolah ni different module kan, and then dua-dua go to alam bekerja, and then dua-dua belajar benda yang berbeza. So these are being standardized. These are and standardization ni involve industry players so that they know the risk, they know the operation, so that they know that when the engineers that go into the training, when they come out from the training, they are well versed and knowledgeable in the operations. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Haniff, for sharing your thoughts. With that final question, this concludes our Q&A session. Thank you to all who have asked very good questions. And thanks a lot again to our speaker for the very clear and helpful explanations.
Thank you everyone. I hope because you guys are still young, just remember just one advice. If you guys are going into oil and gas, the oil and gas industry are evolving right now. Right now, what you are saying might not be the same in the next 3 to 5 years. I can tell you that. We have a lot of things going on, especially in terms of digitalization. That's one thing. And also don't remember that we have decarbonization, net zero, sustainable future. So do not limit yourself to just the hydrocarbon part of the oil and gas industry. The truth is that there's not a lot of industry that can make impact to the earth actually, and oil and gas is one of the biggest industry that has the biggest the largest funding, and also they have the biggest data. They've been here for quite some time. So always add knowledge to your own whatever your knowledge you already have, and try to pursue new interesting stuff. Do not limit yourself, that's all. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Haniff, for sharing your thought. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. Since there are overwhelming questions in the chat box, we will compile them and discuss the answers with Mr. Haniff and send them to our WhatsApp group.
All right.
Mr. Haniff, you may close your slides now. Thank you.
Okay.
You have all been parts of our events today. We would love to share more with you. SPE-UTM SC has always ready with full timeline of event almost every month of the year. Stay updated with us by following our Instagram at SPE-UTM SC and LinkedIn SPE-UTM SC. Hence, we want to share a special promo code for the first 10 early birds of UTM student to get free membership of SPE-UTM SC. The promo code is YesSPE 2021 like in the slides. Remember to apply this promo code in the attendance and feedback form. By joining SPE-UTM SC, this can be the platform for you to expand your skill and invest your ideas where you have the opportunity to be the directors, committees, or volunteers. Unfortunately, we are almost at the end of our talk. We would like all the participants here to kindly fill the attendance form in the given in the chat box. On behalf of our committees, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our main sponsor, One VR Malaysia, both of our collaborators, Hijrah Trading and My Parcel Asia, for making this event comes true. Your sponsorship in many ways has brought a huge amount of help to our event, and we are here to send our obligation to you. Thank you. Before we end this talk, we would like to request Mr. Haniff Mahmood and all of our participants to switch on their cameras to join our photography session. I hope everyone is ready. So we will begin our photo session. In the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, smile. Again. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, one last time. Prepare. Again, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Thank you to all the participants for attending today's technical talk session. We hope you have learned a lot from today's sharing session. We are really grateful to Mr. Haniff Mahmood for providing your valuable insights. Now, let's take a break for 5 minutes to proceed with our last session. Engineering and us, thank you.